Executions no longer a thing of the past here in the state of Indiana. This morning, Indiana executed its first inmate in 15 years.
Joseph Corcoran died by lethal injection just before 12:45 this morning in Michigan City, Indiana. Our Chase Houle spoke with those who witnessed the execution, including the pastor who was in the room with Corcoran.
And Chase, he also spent the hour with him leading up to the execution as well. It had to be a very meaningful and difficult time.
Absolutely, and that's right. And while I want to respect that privacy of the conversation, what the pastor, I should say, did speak to me about, he says the two caught up like old friends, but he knew exactly what was about to happen.
Yeah.
Joseph Corcoran, the man convicted of killing his brother and 3 others, was executed Wednesday after decades of sitting on death row.
Would you pray that it would be painless?
Pastor David Leitzel says that's what Corcoran asked him to do ahead of his execution. And while the Department of Corrections says his last words may have been, "Not really, let's get this over with," Leitzel says in the chamber he said something else.
I took a hold of his hand, and you would almost have to hear it. Joe and I talked and joked all the time, and Joe said this with humor. "Oh, don't hold my hand." And then he kind of settled in, and right after that, he said, "Just pray for me."
Leitzel says he knew Corcoran longer than just the hour he spent with him before his execution, but for decades, even sharing these pictures with me that he took in 1989. And then Leitzel says as a teenage Corcoran in school and at his youth camps. He says over the last 26 years, he'd visit him in prison, where Corcoran would later ask Leitzel to be with him come execution day.
I've known him too long. I've known his family. I couldn't imagine leaving him to go through that alone.
On the other side of the execution chamber, watching from a two-way mirror, Corcoran's wife and her adult son, witnessing him take his final breaths.
It was obviously very somber in that room, and it was a very serious moment within the chamber as well.
Casey Smith with the Capitol Chronicle was the only journalist invited to witness Corcoran die by lethal injection.
The only real movement that I saw from him during that time, when the blinds opened up initially, you could see some slight head movement. His eyes were open and they were blinking. A few minutes later, he did have a movement in his left hand, and then once that stopped, he did not move anymore.
Corcoran was the first inmate to be executed by the state since 2009. And as we previously reported, Indiana's Attorney General Todd Rokita is asking the state Supreme Court to set an execution date for Benjamin Ritchie. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 2002 after killing Beech Grove police officer William Toney in 2000. Now, I did reach out to the AG's office to find out if a date has been set for Ritchie's execution, and they tell me there has not.